tracking some rather shocking developments at the top of this hour. The Swami Narayan Mandir Vasana Sanstha in Newark in California has been defaced by Khalistani goons. The Newark Police and Department of Justice and Civil Rights Division have been informed that an investigation will follow. Meanwhile, the organization has stated that these hateful messages may have been written to traumatize people visiting the temple and also create fear of violence. Remember, viewers, this is not the first time Hindu temples in the United States of America have been attacked. We have also seen a spate of such incidents in Canada, in Australia and the United Kingdom as well. Meanwhile, India has earlier expressed concerns over escalating activities by Khalistani terrorists and has clamped down on organizations and individuals trying to stoke separatist sentiments in different countries. But of course, we are seeing right now that yet another incident of Khalistani goons desecrating temples has come to light. This is of course the latest that we're tracking for all our viewers on the broadcast. It is a rather shocking development. This is the Swami Narayan Mandir Vasana Sanstha in Newark in California that has been defaced with Pro-Khalistan slogans. The Newark Police and Department of Justice Civil Rights Division have also informed that an investigation will follow. Meanwhile, of course, we're also tracking what the organization itself is maintaining. They have stated that these hateful messages may have been written to traumatize people visiting the temple and also create a fear of violence. Remember, viewers, this is not the very first time that Hindu temples in the United States have been attacked. India has earlier expressed concerns over escalating activities by Khalistani terrorists. In fact, such a spate of attacks have also taken place in Canada. They have taken place in Australia, in the United Kingdom as well, which are hotbeds of Khalistani activity. Of course, we've seen Khalistanis roaming scot-free in these countries. But of course, more information coming to light at this point. But joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Rohit Sharma, who is a journalist from the United States of America. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. Shocking developments coming in this morning. The Swami Narayan Mandir Vasana Sanstha in Newark has been defaced. It has been desecrated by Khalistani goons. What do you make of these developments and the fact that, you know, the United States is also a hotbed for these Khalistani terrorists who are in fact roaming scot-free?
Right, Pia. Thanks for having me. I think, you know, this, as you mentioned, this is not the first time something of this sort has happened, right? I mean, we've seen this, and actually we've seen, a lot of these incidents in North America. And, you know, this concerns the Indian community. This concerns the Hindu community. There have been a lot of talk about the growing sense of Hinduphobia in America, and this exactly tells us that. Now, I know, you know, we're assuming at this point in time that there are Khalistanis behind this. And I know for a fact that the police chief of the Newark City Council was there today. He addressed everybody and he said, you know, standing in solidarity and wanted to, you know, say all the good things. But the bottom line is, you know, when push comes to the shove, we really haven't seen any action from authorities in curtailing, you know, some of these organizations or trying to, you know, rein them in. And I think that is where the disconnect is. So when India talks to the U.S. about certain things, and we know we have pending issues involving, you know, one individual recently, Mr. Pannu. But then there are elements, you know, other than Mr. Pannu, who actually on the ground are there attacking temples, attacking Hindus, and creating, you know, this sense of fear in the community. And one thing, you know, that I always keep telling everybody around me is, you know, can we imagine if this was happening on a church or on, you know, on a mosque or a synagogue? I mean, you know, everybody would be up and up against, you know, such people. But because, you know, we are such a small minority, and, you know, people really do not understand a lot about, you know, our culture, our belief, our religion. I think it's really disheartening to see that authorities do not support us in the same way that they should. These incidents hence have been compounding over time. Tia.
Yes, I'd like to address one point you had made and ask you a follow-up on that. You had mentioned about Gurpatwant Pannu and the fact that the United States has opened a probe against an Indian national for an alleged plot to assassinate him or kill him. But of course, meanwhile, do you think the Biden administration is turning a blind eye to these elements on ground? Of course, the nefarious Khalistani nexus is much more than Pannu. It is also operating in Australia. Similar such attacks have been seen in temples over there. Similar such attacks have been seen in numerous temples across Canada, whether in Ontario or in British Columbia or even in Quebec. And of course, we've seen such attacks in temples in the United Kingdom as well. So do you think it is time the West wakes up, or because snakes will then bite them back eventually?
And I think that is, you made a very good point there. I think the fact of the matter is, yes, we have issues that we need to resolve, the U.S. and India need to resolve with each other. But the fact is, and that's what I was trying to say, when it comes to our community and our religion and our temples, we don't see the same sense of outrage, even from the elected representatives, right? I mean, I know this is California, this is where, this is a district of an Indian American from some of the caucus. We don't see the same kind of outrage that we should see. And it is because I don't think there is an understanding of how important, or rather I would say how, disheartening it is to see that there is Hindu phobia, like people are scared now. And these are places of worship. And it's so disappointing to see that one after the other temple is treated the same way. And people are, people come out and, we talk about it, for like 24 hours and then people forget about it. So I think it is really high time that the administration, both local, at state and also at the federal level, take this sincerely, understand the seriousness of the situation and address it rather than just, putting out a statement and say, oh, we condemn it. But then you also have to, put where, the money where your mouth is essentially and say, what, we're going to, curtail this or we will chase this down, we will cut this down. And we really haven't seen that happening. And when you talk about minorities, I mean, in the U.S., I think Hindus are actually facing a lot of troubles because of these Khalistani elements.
Indeed, sir, concrete action, as you've aptly put, is the need of the hour. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking our time, speaking to us on the broadcast, presenting your perspective and analysis of these developments.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.